Paratmanamekam jagadbijamadyam niriham nirakaram onkar vedyam yato jayate palyate yena vishvam tamisham bhaje liyate yatra vishvam. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Dear devotees, so today we are into the third session of the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In the 7th chapter, we have seen that Sri Krishna starts this chapter with a great declaration that he is going to present to us the true nature of the Supreme Reality, the true nature of Ishvara. In the first verse he says that Mai asakta manapartha yogam yunjan madashrayah asamshayam samagram mam yatha gyasyasi tat shruno. Krishna is telling Arjuna, ki listen from me, dear Arjuna, that how that supreme reality will be experienced in its totality and without a grain of doubt. Two things, very important statements Sri Krishna is making. Sri Krishna is saying that the supreme reality has to be experienced in its totality and without any grain of doubt. How are we going to get this? That is what is going to be presented to us in this chapter. And three things he spoke in the first line itself. This person who will be experiencing the supreme reality, he will be what? Maya sakta mana. He will be attached to that supreme reality alone. Maya sakta mana. His mind is attached or fixed on the supreme reality alone. Number one. Yogam yunjan. Yogam yunjan means he is continuously meditating on that supreme reality. Third, mad ashraya. He has taken refuge in me and me alone, in that supreme reality. So, here in the first verse itself, Sri Krishna is telling us we have to do all these things if at all we have to succeed in experiencing the supreme reality. We have to have this attachment for Ishvara. We have to keep our mind fixed on the Ishvara, and our life should be such that we have taken complete refuge at the feet of the supreme reality. Then in the second verse he says that I am going to tell you about two things. Jnanam and Vijnanam. Two beautiful words he is using there. Jnanam teham savijnanam idam vakshyami asheshatah. I am going to tell you in all its completeness. Asheshatah means there will be nothing left out to be told on this topic. Jnanam and Vijnanam. Jnanam refers to the theoretical knowledge, verbal knowledge, or the knowledge coming from the scriptures and books. This knowledge is called Jnanam here. And Vijnanam is what? Svanubhava sanyuktam. Shankaracharya says, Vijnanam means experiential knowledge of the supreme reality. Now this kind of knowledge, after attaining which Sri Krishna says, Yad gyatva Neha bhuyo anyat gyatavyam avashishyate. There will be not left out anything more to be known after having this supreme experiential knowledge of the reality. So, this is the great declaration which Sri Krishna is making right in the beginning itself. Now, when Sri Krishna is saying that this knowledge of the supreme reality, experiential knowledge of the supreme reality, what is going to be the outcome of this knowledge? The outcome of this knowledge is going to be that the person who has got this knowledge, he or she becomes omniscient. Omniscient means Sarvagya. Ishvara is Sarvagya. And when we have the experiential knowledge of Ishvara, we also become omniscient. There will be nothing left to be known. How? How is that by knowing Ishvara, you become all-knowing? Now that is what is going to be presented in the following verses. The reason that a person who experiences this Ishvara becomes all-knowing is that in truth, in reality, there is nothing existing apart from Ishvara. This is the thing. Now, this is the great fruit of this knowledge, experiential knowledge of this Ishvara. And if this is the case, Krishna says, the attainment of this knowledge is not going to be easy. It is going to be difficult, challenging. Anything which is giving this kind of a super excellent fruit, it is not going to be an easy thing. It will be difficult. And that is what is presented to us in the third verse where Sri Krishna says, Marushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvatah. One amongst 1,000 persons may be striving for this great experience, and even among those people who are striving to have this great experience, perchance one or two alone may succeed in having this experience. That shows the durlabhatvam, the rarity and the difficult nature of this enterprise. Now, this is stated here not to make us despondent or make us feel that it is something which is impossible. No, it's not impossible. It is possible. It is only making us understand the kind of thing which we have to be serious about. What is that thing we have to be serious about as far as this great venture is concerned? The thing that we have to be serious about is we have to mold ourselves in the light of the teachings coming from the Shastras and the Guru. If that is done, everybody can have this supreme experience. As long as we don't transform our personality and mold it in the light of the teachings coming from the Shastras and the Guru, this is not going to happen. This is the point. That means we have to become competent. There is something called competence in spiritual life. Adhikari. If our adhikara is not sufficient, this experience will be difficult. And if we have made ourselves eligible and competent, then there is nothing under the sun to stop us from having this great experience. So this is the great possibility which is hidden and which is waiting to happen in each person's life. This is the promising thing actually. If this were something impossible, Krishna would not have told this to Arjuna. If this would have been a totally impossible thing, then this whole scripture becomes meaningless. It is only hinting at what we are supposed to do and focus upon. We need to raise our level of competence by seriously and sincerely following the great teachings of the Shastras and the Guru. Then it can be done. Then comes a wonderful verse where Sri Krishna is saying. Now, in that fourth verse, Sri Krishna said, what is that? From fourth to seventh verse, Krishna presents those beautiful, the ultimate picture of the supreme reality. First, he presents the lower or the inferior dimension of that very Ishvara, the lower Prakriti of Ishvara, and then he presents the higher Prakriti of Ishvara. The supreme reality whom we are referring to as Ishvara has got two Prakritis. One is the inferior or lower Prakriti, and the other is the superior or higher Prakriti. The lower Prakriti is what is we today in English call as matter, material things. Bhomirapo nalo vayu kham mano buddhirevacha ahankaram itiyam me bhinna prakriti rashtadha. My eightfold Prakriti, Krishna is saying, Ishvara's eightfold Prakriti is what is this? Krishna is beautifully talking about the material dimension of this so-called existence. In this existence, there are two dimensions. One is material dimension, and the material dimension is what is described here as Bhumi, Apa, Anala, Vayu, and Kham. The Panchatattvas. Earth, water, fire, air, and space. The five tattvas. And then Man, Buddhi, and Ahankara. This in totality is what is referred to as the material dimension. In another word which we can use for this is what is Maya. Maya is this so-called, this lower dimension of that reality. Maya is that thing from where this entire so-called what we are seeing here proceeds. Maya is the cause and this is the effect. So here Prakriti, the lower Prakriti is what is Maya. Now this very Ishvara's higher Prakriti is there. And what is that higher Prakriti? He says then, Apareyam itastuvanyam prakriti vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabahu ye yedam dharyate jagat. My higher Prakriti is what? This what I have described in my earlier verse, that Bhumi, Apa, Anala, Vayu, Kham, Mana, Buddhi and Ahankara. This is my lower Prakriti. This is what is matter, material. Different from this, distinct from this, I have my higher Prakriti, extremely important. And what is this higher Prakriti? It is Jiva Bhutam. Jiva Bhutam means consciousness manifesting or appearing in the form of Jiva. This, you, me, all of us. What is, now here there are certain things which I had touched upon in the last class. So, in short, the distinction is between matter and consciousness. A very important classification Sri Krishna is making. Just look into our experiences. Are we experiencing here anything apart from these two things called matter and consciousness? Is there a third category here? It is something to be very much seriously probed into. In our experience, do we experience a third category apart from matter and consciousness? This entire universe which we are seeing, in a sweeping way, we can say that it is made up of matter and consciousness. Jada and Chetana. Chaitanya and Jada, or Chit and Achit. Achit is also another word which is used for matter. So whatever we are experiencing here, it is a combination of these two things, matter and consciousness. That is why Vedanta uses a beautiful term, Chit Jada Granthi. Everything is a knot or a combination of Chaitanya and Jada. Actually speaking, this Chaitanya, and then of course there Krishna says something very beautiful. He says, Apareyam mitastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhuta mahabahu ye yedam dharyate jagat. This entire jagat, this entire lower prakriti is held by the higher prakriti. The matter is held by so-called consciousness. This matter in itself, it cannot remain together without being held by this higher principle of consciousness. Now, this is a significant point. If we just look into our own personality, this human being, our body, this body is made up of matter. How is this a combination of the so-called 5 bhutas? Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jala and Prithvi. The Panchatattvas turning into bhutas and these Panchabhutas turning into this grass body. How is it being held together? Because there is consciousness behind it. So consciousness is that which is holding the so-called this material dimension which we are seeing. Ye yedam dharyate jagat. So Ishvara's higher prakriti is that which is holding the so-called the lower prakriti, and this entire cosmos itself is held by that consciousness principle. Now, in the last class I had touched upon that point. Let me just repeat that once again because that is extremely significant. There we had seen that this entire cosmos can be understood or classified into 2 things. Living and non-living things. Do we experience anything apart from this? Either things are living or non-living. Do we have a third category? Something in between living and non-living? Either things are alive or they are non-alive, where life is not manifested. We had seen in the last class. This table is a non-living thing, whereas you and I, we are living entities. What is the difference? What makes something living and something non-living? What is that factor? It is nothing but the consciousness factor. When consciousness begins to become manifested, the matter turns into a living thing. Where consciousness is not manifest, that thing remains non-living. Where consciousness begins to manifest, then that matter becomes living. A very important thing. Somebody may ask, is there consciousness in this pillar? Is there consciousness in this sofa? Is there consciousness in this wall? Yes, it is there, but it is not manifest. This body is also made up of matter. This wall is also made up of matter. But in this matter here, in this body, consciousness has manifested itself. That's why it appears to be living. So this is the distinction between living and non-living things, entities. Wherever the consciousness begins to manifest, the so-called matter turns into something living. Now this is the beautiful, now so many things are connected with this. In our Bhakti Shastra, now we go to the temple. We have an image of God. That image, in a very technical sense, it is either made up of marble or stone. It is pure matter. Technically speaking, or realistically speaking, it is only matter. But truly speaking, there is a methodology by which you can make that matter alive. That is in our Bhakti Shastras. There is a ritual called Prana Pratishtha. You can make that very matter alive when you begin to make consciousness manifest in that very so-called an idol made up of stone or wood. So wherever consciousness begins to manifest, that thing becomes alive. So in short, here Sri Krishna is giving a sweeping view of what we are experiencing here. It is all a mixture of consciousness and matter, nothing else. And what is consciousness and matter? Consciousness is the higher prakriti of Ishvara and matter is the lower prakriti of Ishvara. Now the conclusion is that in that case, is there anything apart from Ishvara? Whatever we are seeing here, whatever we are experiencing here, it is nothing but Ishvara and Ishvara's two prakritis, the lower prakriti as well as higher prakriti. What a vision is presented to us by Sri Krishna. This is the ultimate picture of what Ishvara is. Our understanding and concept of Ishvara is one thing, but Ishvara as Ishvara is a totally different thing. Sri Krishna and the Upanishads and all these great masters, they are presenting to us the supreme reality as the supreme reality is and not as we are imagining about it. So we need to understand what is this entity called Ishvara which we are wanting to experience. So you will see that ultimately we are seeing nothing but Ishvara. That is what Sri Krishna said in the next verse. He said that Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. What a beautiful idea here Sri Krishna is giving. Sri Krishna is saying, hey Dhananjaya, there is nothing whatsoever superior to me. I am the ultimate cause of everything. Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre maniganaiva. I am holding everything just like a thread holds the different flowers together in a garland, in a necklace. Let us take the example of a garland. In a garland, there are different flowers. And all these flowers are threaded together by one thread. It is that one thread which is holding all the flowers in a garland. Similarly, it is this one Ishvara, through its two prakritis, holding everything. Ishvara alone is existing. Just one verse before that, Sri Krishna had said, Etad yonini bhutani sarvani iti upadharaya. Aham krishnasya jagataha prabhava pralayastatha. I am the yoni, I am the womb, I am the source. Whatever you are seeing here, of all the things here, I am the source. How? Through my two prakritis. And Shankaracharya makes a brilliant comment there. He says, Prakriti dvayadvarena aham sarvagya ishvaraha jagata karanam. So beautiful, so scientific statements. Through my two prakritis, Shankaracharya is saying, this Ishvara, through the two prakritis of Ishvara, Ishvara becomes the cause of everything. This so-called Jiva and Jagat is nothing but, it is rooted in Ishvara, it is nothing but Ishvara. Now here, before we get into the next few verses, which is the today's topic, as I said in the last class, in that case, the conclusion is that whatever is existing is Ishvara and Ishvara alone. We are not able to see it clearly owing to some reason. Now that also will be broached now after a couple of verses. Sri Krishna is going to tell us why is that we are not able to see with our open eyes that what we are seeing is Ishvara and Ishvara alone. The reason is being given later on. But this is a fact. This is a simple reality that whatever we are experiencing here, it is nothing but that supreme reality. We are not knowing it for some reasons. That reason is going to be presented to us a couple of verses later. Now, after having told this beautiful idea that whatever is existing here, it is that very supreme reality in and through its two prakritis, lower prakriti and higher prakriti, matter and consciousness. There is nothing apart from that. Sri Krishna is saying that's why there is nothing superior to this reality. This is the ultimate picture of reality. That means whatever we are seeing is that supreme reality. Now, I am just reminded of certain things. Sri Ramakrishna used to ask Naren to sing a beautiful song. And Sri Ramakrishna was very fond of this song. And what is that song? Most of you may be knowing it. And Naren would sing it in his melodious voice. Naren would sing that song. And that song is तुझसे हमने दिल को लगाया, जो कुछ है सो तू ही है, एक तुझको ही अपना पाया, जो कुछ है सो तू ही है. What an amazing, supreme reality. जो कुछ है सो तू ही है. This is the plain truth. All our bhakti saints, they would sing. This is the theme of bhakti also. Now we have thought that bhakti is different and jnana is different. Let us make this point very clear. The true bhakti comes from jnana. When you have this tattva jnana, this tattva drishti, this tattvic understanding about what Ishvara is, not as Ishvara limited to a certain form, not Ishvara limited to a certain place, but as Ishvara is existing. Ishvara means nothing else. Whatever we are experiencing is nothing but Ishvara and Ishvara alone. Jo kuch hai, so tu hi hai. And if that is the case, if jo kuch hai, so tu hi hai, now tell me, where else can your mind go? Is there any other place where your mind can go? Wherever your mind goes, it is Ishvara only. We are not understanding this point. Is there any place which is not Ishvara? Let your mind roam anywhere it wants. The roaming of the mind itself stops. Where will the mind roam? Let it roam. You allow the mind to roam anywhere it wants. But if you have this tattvic drishti, everything will be dissolved in Ishvara. Whatever may be the thought inside your mind, you will see that gets transformed into Ishvara. This is how you're giving a turn to your mind towards Ishvara. Your mind, for this person, this jnani bhakta or bhakta jnani, this person is a jnani bhakta or a bhakta jnani. They are not two different things. Owing to this supreme vision of the reality, this person will be constantly in a devotional mood. He will be always in a mood of adoration of the supreme reality in so many forms, because he sees nothing but that supreme reality alone. What a great thing it is. So that song is so thrilling. Okay, I have fallen in love with you. That song says, Tujhse humne dil ko lagaya. Ishwar se humne dil ko lagaya. I have fallen in love with Ishvara because there is no second entity apart from Ishvara. Kyunki jo kuch hai so tu hi hai. Whatever I am seeing, it is an ignorance that I am referring to somebody as a man and a woman and this world. This jiva and jagat idea is existing only in ignorance. When the true knowledge comes, this jiva is realized to be what? Brahman alone. Come on, let us go back to Shankaracharya's immortal utterance. Brahma satyam jagat mithya. It is one standpoint, half of the story. The second half is the real story. What is this jiva and jagat? Jiva brahmaiva. Jagat brahmaiva. In ignorance, I am referring to this as jagat and jiva. When knowledge comes, it will be realized that what I was referring to jiva and jagat, it is nothing but brahmaiva. It is that supreme reality alone. Jo kuch hai, so tu hi hai. Sri Ramakrishna's illustration. To reach the top of the roof, you leave the steps behind. Is it not? To reach the rooftop, you have to leave the steps behind. But after reaching the roof, you look back and see the steps which were left behind, it is made up of the same stuff out of which the roof is made. Both of them are made up of the same stuff. So initially we leave this so-called the changing dimension in search of the unchanging. And after coming in touch with the unchanging, when I look outside, I see that this changing dimension which I turned away from, it is nothing apart from that unchanging dimension appearing in the form of the so-called changing dimension. The changing and the unchanging together are the supreme reality. It is one reality. That is what is called Brahman. The unchanging is referred to as Nirguna. Along with the changing dimension, it becomes Saguna. Saguna or Nirguna, it is Brahman. What we are seeing now is Saguna Brahman. It is Brahman. Saguna or Nirguna, it is Brahman. It is one supreme reality alone which is existing. But we are not understanding this point. The Saguna Brahman, in ignorance, we are referring to as Jiva and Jagat. Where is Jiva and Jagat? It is Saguna Brahman. With open eyes, we are seeing nothing but Saguna Brahman. But when we don't have the deeper insight, we are trapped in this Jiva and Jagat idea, which keeps on giving us endless suffering and misery in life. When this Jagat Buddhi, Jiva Buddhi is overcome through the Kripa of Shastra and Divine Mother, when we get that deeper insight and we begin to see the reality with our open eyes, the whole picture changes. Life itself is transformed. This is what is told to us by Sri Krishna in this chapter. Now, before I proceed, I would like to touch upon a few beautiful, let me take up some illustrations. Sri Krishna is going to tell now the all-pervasive nature of this supreme reality. It is this supreme reality which is pervading everything, is it not? Mai sarvamidam protam sutre maniganaiva. In me, everything is threaded, just like the garlands are threaded in a thread. I am holding everything. That means here certain questions have to be answered. Are there two things? One which is pervading and the other thing which is getting pervaded. Are there two things? Let us make this point very clear. But if you go by the words, it will appear as if there are two things. The thread is there and the garland is there. Ishvara is there and Jagat is there. If Ishvara is the thread, this Jagat, which is like a flower, is held by the thread called Ishvara. Is this the true picture? As if Ishvara is also there and the Jagat is also there. No. What is the nature of this pervasion? When we have the idea of one thing pervading the other, it implies the existence of two things. But are there actually speaking two things? No, there are no two things. And this can be understood by some beautiful illustrations. Here, Shankaracharya gives the illustration. Shankaracharya says the illustration is what? Initially, he gives the illustration of the thread and the cloth. Now see, we all have this cloth. Now we are referring to this as cloth. What is this thing? Is it cloth or thread? You conclude. Where is the cloth? It is thread. Any doubt? What is this thing we are referring to? We are seeing a certain form and we are naming it as cloth. But this entity is made up of nothing but threads running in two ways. In English it is called warp and woof. Warp and woof means what? You see, those who have seen thread, how it is in the looming machine, the thread runs in two directions, horizontally as well as vertically. Is it not? The thread runs horizontally as well as vertically. Now this horizontally laid threads and the vertically laid threads is what finally appears in the form of. Now tell me, you can say that the thread is pervading the cloth. Does it make sense? You can say that the thread is pervading the cloth, but does it make sense? Are there two things here? One thing called cloth and the other thing called thread? It is thread alone. Any doubt? This is the kind of pervasion that we are talking about. When we talk about that supreme reality pervading everything here, it is that supreme reality itself which is appearing in the form of Jiva and Jagat. Just like this thread is appearing in the form of cloth. Shankaracharya gives some beautiful examples in his amazing book called Aparokshanubhuti. He gives a series of examples to drive this idea into us and to make us understand that whatever we are seeing, it is only one entity. I'll just read out a few portions from that. Shankaracharya says here, Vyapya vyapakata mithya sarvamatmeti shasanat iti gyate pare tattve bhedasya vasara kutah. Shankaracharya is saying there are two things here. Vyapya and vyapakata. Vyapya and vyapakata. One is the thing which is pervading the other. One is pervading and the other is being pervaded. Now this idea, he is saying that the Upanishads say that everything is one reality. In that case, it follows that the idea of the pervaded and the pervading is illusory. Is it that one thing is pervading the other as if there are two things? The idea of one thing pervading the other is illusory. The supreme truth being realized. When we realize the supreme reality, what will happen? Where is the room for any distinction between the cause and effect? The cause and effect, are they two different things? If the thread is the cause and the cloth is the effect, is the cause and effect two different things? There is nothing called cause and effect. It is one reality appearing as something else. Here also it is one reality, is Ishvara, which is appearing in the form of Jiva and Jagat. This is what Sri Ramakrishna refers to as Vijnana, a word which Sri Ramakrishna so beautifully uses. Then Shankaracharya gives a series of examples to make us understand this point. He says, just as earth is described as a jar, gold is described as an earring, so is Brahman described as Jiva. So beautiful. Amazing statements. You take the example of clay and jar. You may say that the jar is pervaded by the clay, is it not? The so-called earthen pot is pervaded by earth. But is this statement does it make any sense? What is that earthen pot? It is nothing but clay. Does that earthen pot have an independent existence apart from the clay? It doesn't even exist. This is the meaning of Jagat Mithya. Where is the Jagat which is independently existing? It is Brahman. Where is the Jiva which is independently existing? What I am referring to as Jiva, it is Ishvara. Swami Vivekananda's beautiful statement. Now see, these are all. I'll take one more beautiful utterance here by Shankaracharya. So this is one illustration where he says that this so-called jar, earthen jar, it is made up of clay. If you investigate into the jar, what do you find? It is nothing but clay. Similarly, the ornaments made up of gold. Ornament is just a name. Nama matram. What is it made up of? Gold. Does the ornament exist independent of the gold? The ornament doesn't have any independent existence apart from the gold. Then, just as it is water that appears as ripples and waves. Beautiful example. Tell me there is a wave on the surface of the ocean. What is this wave? It is simple water. Is there anything called wave? What is the content of the wave? It's water. Is there a second entity apart from water? You may say the water is pervading the wave. Does it make sense? It is water. Where is the differentiation between one thing being pervaded by the other? There is only one thing which is existing. So similarly, Shankaracharya is saying, just like as it is water that appears as waves, or copper that appears in the form of a vessel, so it is Atman that appears as the whole universe. It is that supreme reality which is appearing in the form of the whole universe. It is that reality. In ignorance, I am seeing wave. In ignorance, I am seeing the pot. In ignorance, I am seeing the ornament. But when the Tattva Jnana comes, even when you are seeing the pot, you will know that it is clay. When the Tattva Drishti comes, even when you are seeing the ornament, you will know that it is gold. Similarly, when the Tattvik Drishti comes, even when I am seeing man and woman, I am knowing it that it is nothing but Ishvara and Ishvara alone in so many forms. Bahurupe sammukhe tumar, chadiye kothay khoji jo Ishvar. What a statement it is. Leaving this God aside, this God in so many forms, Ishvara in so many forms, leaving this Ishvara. Which is that God, my dear, that you are hunting after? We are in search of God. I always give this illustration. It is so funny. If a fish which is swimming in the water, just imagine a fish which is swimming in the water. We have a fish tank there in our third floor. I was just sitting in front of that fish tank and I was just looking at it. The fish is swimming in the water. Now, if that fish begins to think that I have to search for water, I have to search for water. Where is water? Where is water? It is swimming in water. It is completely submerged in water. And yet if it thinks that I have to search for water, this can happen only in hypnotism and ignorance, is it not? Similarly, we are just like that. We are in Ishvara and we are in search of Ishvara. Again, I repeat. If the fish thinks that water will come when I die, at the time of death, this kind of an idea can come only when the fish is in profound ignorance. Hypnotism. The fish is surrounded by water, it is in water, it is seeing water, yet it is thinking that water will come. Similar is the condition with all of us. We are thinking that God will come. At the point of death, it's good. That is also a standpoint. But the simple fact is that we are seeing nothing but Ishvara. We are not understanding this point. Shankaracharya there says, then from the Purokshanubhuti, I'm reading from a Purokshanubhuti, you can see that. Just as it is the earth that appears under the name of a jar, or it is the thread that appears under the name of a cloth. See, thread is named, one name is given. Clay is given a name called pot. The thread is given a name called cloth. So it is Atman that appears under the name of the universe. So beautiful. It is that supreme reality. To that reality you are giving a name called Jagat and Jiva. Similarly, now here, this so-called different words which we are using this is a man, this is a woman. These are the different words which we are using to actually speaking, which is Ishvara. Swami Vivekananda, now see, this is Shankaracharya's statement. Swami Vivekananda's another great utterance, which is just a retelling of what Shankaracharya says here. It's a famous utterance from Shankaracharya. From the Upanishads and Shankaracharya also. Swamiji says, I am the servant of that God whom ignorant call man. Once again I repeat, I am a servant of that God whom the ignorant call man. In ignorance I am referring to Ishvara as man. When knowledge comes, we will realize that what I was referring to as man and woman is nothing but Ishvara. What a beautiful utterance it is. I am a servant of that God whom the ignorant calls as man. Now, this is the why I'm referring to this Aparoksha Anubhuti here and these beautiful illustrations. This is the ultimate picture of reality. Whatever we are seeing here, Krishna is saying it is nothing but Ishvara. And this Ishvara alone is existing through its two prakritis, the lower prakriti and the higher prakriti, matter and consciousness. Is there anything else existing here? Living, non-living, matter and consciousness. This is Ishvara's two prakriti, which is playing in the form of Jiva and Jagat. We have to learn to see the reality with our open eyes. And this also is the object of our meditation. Now, to help us to have this true vision, Krishna is giving a series of examples here to make us understand that Ishvara is the essence of everything that we are experiencing here. What is the essence of this cloth? Thread. What is the essence of so-called pot? Clay. Is it not? Can a thing exist apart from its essence? It cannot. Can this cloth exist? Cloth is just a word which we are using to refer to thread. Pot is just a word which we are using to refer to clay. Does this pot idea or cloth idea exist different from thread and clay? It cannot exist. Similarly, just as the thread and the clay is the essence of cloth and pot, similarly, this Jiva and Jagat has got Ishvara as its essence. Without that essence, there is no existence of Jiva and Ishvara. What is my essence? What is your essence? What is your essence? Ishvara is your essence. Without Ishvara, you don't have an existence. Look at the vision which the Shastras is bestowing upon us. Without that Ishvara, we have no existence. Because that Ishvara is the essence of everything here. That is what is being presented in the next few verses, where Sri Krishna is going to tell us it is this Ishvara which is running through so-called everything in this universe. He's saying here, verses from 8. A series of items are taken, and it is shown that the essence of all this is nothing but Ishvara and Ishvara alone. Rasohamapsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryayo pranavas sarva vedeshu shabdakhe paurusham nrishu punyo gandha prithivyam cha tejaschasmi vibhavasau jivanam sarva bhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu bijam mam sarva bhutanam vidhi partha sanatanam buddhir buddhimatam asmi tejas tejasvinamaham balam balavatam asmi kamaraga vivarjitam dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshabha ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasa tamasaschaye matta eveti tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mai. Krishna is saying, Rasohamapsu kaunteya. Hey Kaunteya, hey Arjun. In the water, the essence of water is what? Me. Ishvara is the essence of the water. Water is one thing we know. Now see, items are taken. These items are only representing the whole thing. This you have to apply to everything. Everything. What Krishna wants to say is that everything has got Ishvara as its essence. And apart from the essence, that thing has got no existence. That is the point. A thing cannot exist apart from its essence. So what is the essence of water? Raso Rasoham. Aham raso apsu. Apsu aham rasa. Apsu. Up means water. Apaha. Krishna is saying, I am the essence of water. Without me, there is no existence of so-called water. Now you apply this everywhere, to all the items. Prabhasmi Shashi Surya Yo. Shashi and Surya, moon and sun. The luminosity which we are seeing in so-called sun and moon, from where does it come? The essence of that, sun and moon, is nothing but Ishvara. That luminosity is actually the luminosity coming from Ishvara. Ishvara is the essence of the so-called the luminosity of the sun and moon. Prabha, Prabhasmi, I am that Prabha, the luminosity. Then Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. I am that Pranava. Pranava means Om. Om is the very essence of the Vedas, and Om means nothing but the supreme reality. In the Vedas, there are so many things mentioned, and Om is the essence of the whole of the Vedas. And what does Om actually mean? Om means the supreme reality called Ishvara. So, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu Shabdakhe. And I am that sound. Sound is the essence of space. And that sound, I am. I am that Ishvara, which is in the form of sound, which is the essence of so-called space. And Paurusham Drishu. I am the manhood in men. Here, men doesn't mean in the gender sense. What it means that the essence of every man and woman is nothing but Ishvara. Essence of everything is Ishvara. These are the different items taken. These items have got no existence apart from Ishvara. Just like a pot doesn't have any existence apart from the clay, just as the cloth has got no existence apart from thread, and just like the wave doesn't exist apart from the water. Similarly, none of these things have got any existence apart from the essence, which is Ishvara. Then, I am the sweet fragrance in the earth. Punyo Gandha Prithivyam. I am that sweet fragrance. Ishvara is that sweet fragrance. This fragrance is the quality of earth. And I am that fragrance. I am existing as the essence of this thing called Prithvi or earth element. Then Tejas Chasmi Vibhavaso. I am the brilliance in the fire. In the fire, the brilliance which we see, can you imagine a fire without luminosity? Can you imagine a fire without heat? Luminosity and heat, that is a very defining characteristic of fire. Sri Krishna is saying, I am that. I am the essence of the so-called fire. Jivanam sarva bhuteshu. And what? I am the life in all the beings. The life, the living principle. I am in that form. Living and non-living. In everything, the essence is Ishvara and Ishvara alone. And tapas chasmi tapas vishu. I am the austerity of the ascetics. Ascetics, those who perform austerities. Tapasya is the very essence of tapasvis. Tapasvi means one who is performing austerities. So austerity is the very essence of the person who is performing the austerity. And that austerity, I am, means I am in the form of essence of everything. Bijam mam sarva bhutanam. O Partha, know me to be the eternal seed of all beings. I am that eternal seed. I am the intellect of the intelligent. Buddhir buddhimatam asmi. I am the intellect of the intelligent. Wherever we see intelligence, it is Ishvara who is in the form of that. So actually we need not be proud about our intelligence. Nothing belongs to us. We may think that, oh, how intelligent I am. Ko buddhi diye che Bhagwan. Buddhi ek to beshi diye che. So all this buddhi, the point is, whatever we have, we should remember that all this guna, somebody may be very good in singing, somebody may be having some other qualities, all this is coming from that essential thing. If the pot thinks that I am beautiful, Is not the pot absolutely foolish? Suppose a pot has got a beautiful pot, beautiful pots. A pot which looks very beautiful. What is the essence of that beauty? Can that beauty exist apart from the clay? Tell me. Can that beauty exist apart from the clay? If the pot thinks that I am beautiful, is this not the sign of highest foolishness? Everything comes from Ishvara, clay and clay alone. If the golden ornament, a beautiful necklace or an earring, thinks that I am so beautiful, is not that ornament foolish to think that it is beautiful? All that beauty comes from gold, which is the essence of that ornament. Similarly with everything, if somebody has got some good quality, it is all coming from that essential thing called Ishvara. Now, this is the idea which comes in the 10th chapter. Beautiful. The 10th chapter will be continuation of this very subject. In the 10th chapter, Krishna says, let me just touch upon that point. Yad vibhuti mat sattvam Srimad urjitam va tattadeva vagachatvam mama tejo ansha sambhavam. So beautiful. Wherever you say yat vibhuti mat, wherever you see wonderful manifestations of wonderful things, wonderful qualities, vibhuti mat, then Srimad, wherever you see prosperity not only in the terms of money, wherever you see richness in so many ways, rich in qualities, rich in different characteristics, wherever you see things wonderfully manifested, yat vibhuti mat, and then Srimad, and urjitam eva, urja, wherever you see tremendous power manifesting. Three things, extremely important point. He's saying wherever you see wonderful qualities, wherever you see prosperity getting manifested, prosperity not only in terms of money, but different kinds of richness in character, richness in nobility, and wherever you see extraordinary power getting manifested, Sri Krishna is saying, Tattadeva vagachatvam, please understand, that is just a small, one grain of my glory is getting manifested in and through that so-called personality. So wherever we see, everything is coming from that Ishvara. So we have nothing to be proud about. We should, if at all we have some qualities, that's why ultimately see everything boils down to absolute samarpana. Ishvara alone is existing. We are nothing. We don't have a separate existence apart from Ishvara. This is what is bhakti, based upon the supreme jnana. That is the point. Now here, once again, going back to the point here, I am the intellect of the intelligent, and I am the courage of the courageous. Courage, somebody who is very courageous. From where does this courage come? The essence of that is Ishvara and Ishvara alone. Then, of the strong, I am the strength. Balam balavatam asmi. Among the balavatam, among those who are strong, I am the balam. If a strong person thinks that I am strong, that person is foolish. All the strength comes from that source. Balam balavatam asmi. But how is this balam? Kamaraga vivarjitam. The true balam is always which is kama raga vivarjitam. Shankaracharya makes a beautiful statement here. Kama is what? Kama is what? Desire to attain something which we don't have. Is it not? Kama means longing for something which we don't have. And raga means what? Attachment for thing which we have. Two things. There are many things which we don't have, and we desire for that. And once we get it, we become attached to it. In this also, we will see that there is a lot of strength manifested. If you have to fulfill your desires, you will have to put a lot of strength and energy in that direction. Sri Krishna is saying that I am not talking about this kind of a strength which is qualified by kama and raga, desire and attachment. No. The true strength is what? Which is kama raga vivarjitam, which is free from desire and attachment. Now this strength, this is a very beautiful point. This strength is what? This strength comes from Ishvara and Ishvara alone. I'll just touch upon that. A beautiful mantra which comes in the Mundak Upanishad, where the Upanishad says, it says that Nayamatma balahinena labhyaha. So here the topic is of balam. Balam balavatam asmi. I am the strength of the so-called strong. What is this strength? There in the Upanishad, in the Mundak Upanishad, it says, Nayamatma balahinena labhya. This Atman cannot be realized by one who is balahina, one who is devoid of balam, strength. What is the meaning of strength? Shankaracharya makes a masterly comment there. He says, what is this strength? Atmanishtha janita viryam. That strength which comes from Atmanishtha, Ishwaranishtha. So the real strength is what? The real strength is that which comes from the firm conviction. Again I repeat, the real strength comes from the firm conviction that I have no separate existence apart from Ishvara. I am one with Ishvara. There is nothing existing apart from Ishvara. Now see how strong you feel. This is that pure strength in which there is no place for kama and raga. As long as you have kamana and raga, you cannot have this pure strength. Once again I repeat, this is a very significant point. But these are the things to be practiced in life. Sri Krishna is saying that I am a strength which is kama and raga vivarjitam. That strength which is devoid of attachment and desire. Wherever there is attachment and desire, you cannot have this kind of a strength. What kind of a strength? The strength which comes from the firm conviction that I have no separate existence apart from Ishvara. Actually speaking, there is nothing existing apart from Ishvara. I means I am one with that. This complete dissolution of our small individuality into that supreme reality, that gives us that supreme strength. Krishna is saying, I am that strength, which is kama and raga vivarjitam. In that pure strength, there is no place for kamana and raga. So beautiful. Krishna is saying, kama raga vivarjitam balam. And that strength which is devoid of kamana and raga. And then what? Dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshabha. Among the creatures, I am desire which is not contrary to righteousness. Now see, desire is perfectly fine. Only the desire should be righteous. Righteous and virtuous desires. Shankaracharya makes a beautiful comment here. He says, what kind of a desires? He is saying, I am that desire. What kind of a desire? Desires as for eating and drinking. Now, as long as we are alive in this body, everybody will be eating, drinking, and doing certain things to maintain oneself in a good and a dignified manner, is it not? This is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong in it. See the beautiful comment coming in here. He is saying, what kind of a desire I am? Desires as for eating, drinking, etc., which are for mere maintenance of the body and so on. I am that desire. Not that desire in the form of kama and kanchana. To put it in Sri Ramakrishna's language, that desire which is meant for self-gratification, pleasure-seeking. No, I am this desire, which is dharma aviruddha, which is not which is not unrighteous, which is righteous desire, which is virtuous desire, which is desires meant to keep this body in a healthy way so that it can do this sadhana. That's it. I am that desire. So, dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. And the last verse here, Krishna says, Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasa tamasaschaye matte eveti tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mai. So beautiful. Those things that indeed are made of sattva, rajas and tamas, know them to have sprung from me alone. This entire so-called, whatever we are seeing, it is made up of the three gunas. We are all nothing but this body is trigunatmik. Everybody, we are all nothing but the made up of three gunas. In some person, sattva guna may be predominating. In some people, rajas may be predominating. In some people, tamas may be predominating. Whatever it is, we are all the mixture of three gunas. When sattva predominates, this knowledge and this experience comes. When tamas predominates, we are totally in darkness. That is why there is sadhana means what? To always strive to make oneself sattvic. The more and more we become sattvic, we are coming closer and closer to God. When we make ourselves tamasic, we are going away from the because tamas means that something which hides the reality. So here Krishna is saying that all these different things which are made up of the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas, know that they all have sprung from me alone. Everything has sprung from me alone. Means they are nothing but me alone. Even that tamas, rajas and sattva, it's all me alone. There is nothing else existing separated from me. Then comes a very important statement. He says, Matta eveti tan vidhi, natu aham teshu, but te mai. I am not existing in them, but they are existing in me. What is the meaning of that? I am not in them. I don't exist in them. It means that I am not under its control. They are under my control. I am not slave to the things. The things are under my control. That is the meaning. So beautiful. So these are the beautiful verses which we touched upon today. And here, so ultimately, what is the conclusion of the verses till now we have studied now? In these verses, Krishna presented to us a series of items and showed us that the essence of all these items are nothing but Ishvara. The essence of the jar is what? Clay. Essence of this cloth is what? Thread. Essence of wave is what? Water. Essence of Jiva is what? Ishvara. With our open eyes, we are actually seeing nothing but Ishvara. There comes a very beautiful mantra in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad where it is said, the Rishi, and this is all the vision of the Rishi which we have to practice in our life. The Rishi says, a great utterance comes there, Tvam Stri, Tvam Pumanasi, Tvam Kumara, Utava Kumari, Tvam Jirno Dandena Vanchasi, Tvam Jato Bhavasi, Vishvato Mukhaha. What does it mean? The Rishi says, Tvam, that Ishvara is in the form of Tvam Stri, Tvam Pumanasi. It is that Ishvara in the form of the Stri, it is that Ishvara in the form of the Purusha, Stri and Purusha. Tvam Kumara Utava Kumari, it is that Ishvara in the form of a girl. It is that Ishvara in the form of a boy. Tvam Jirno Dandena Vanchasi. That is that Ishvara who is walking with a walking stick, that old man or the old woman who is walking with a stick in his or her hand. It is the same Ishvara. Tvam Jato Bhavasi Vishvato Mukhaha. It is that one Ishvara which is appearing in the form of all this. This is the Vijnana which Sri Krishna declared in the beginning. This is the ultimate picture of reality. But the question is, where are we looking for God? Is God going to come? God alone is existing, only we are not understanding this point. If we begin to walk on the path shown by the Shastras and the Guru, this is the Tattvic understanding of Ishvara, not the imaginary understanding of Ishvara. Tattvic understanding is different. This Tattvic understanding comes only from Shastras and the Guru. Only when we learn it from the Guru, then only we understand what is the true nature of Ishvara. And it can be life transforming. This vision is life transforming. This is the meaning of, again, coming back to that great statement of Sri Ramakrishna, Advaita Gyan Achale Bendhe, Tarpore, life take, lead karo. This is Advaita Gyan. There is nothing existing. There is no second entity existing apart from Ishvara. This is the most important teaching I always keep on saying. Sri Ramakrishna's most important and the most practical teaching is this. Tie the knowledge of Advaita to the corner of your cloth and then lead your life. First get this vision that everything is Ishvara, and now you see you will be able to lead a very intelligent and a very beautiful life. you will be able to handle everything most intelligently. In the absence of this vision, we are actually messing up with our life. We are taking wrong decisions, we are judging things wrongly, we are seeing things wrongly, we feel wrongly. Our thinking, feeling, and action, everything is done wrongly in the absence of this true vision. Just see, this can be a life-transforming vision if and when it is put into practice in our day-to-day life. So this is the wonderful picture which comes. The supreme reality. Sri Krishna said, Jnanam teham savijnanam idam vakshyami asheshatah. I am going to tell you that Jnanam and Vijnanam, that ultimate picture of the supreme reality in its completeness, asheshatah. Yad gyatva neha bhuyo nyad gyatavyam avashishyate, knowing which there will be left nothing more to be known. This is that thing. What more is there to be known? What more is there to be known? Now presently it is only Jnanam. We have not come to Vijnanam. Presently it is only a concept, but it is the right concept. It is good to have the right concept. But this right concept, now it has to be transformed into experience, Vijnanam. That happens when we keep on practicing it. It will happen. It comes. So this is the great vision which Sri Krishna is presenting to us. Now, the next class comes a very important subject. A very important subject. And that is, why is that we are not able to see Ishvara where there is nothing but Ishvara? Why? There, Jollyji is telling the right thing. Because there is one mysterious entity called Maya. It is this which is deluding everybody. Where there is only Ishvara, it makes us believe that there is something else existing apart from Ishvara. That is the subject of the next class, and we will take it up in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.